All right, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to yet another TapDaddyBeats stream. I hope you guys are having a good Thursday. Today we're just gonna be mixing down a track. And I got a really good one picked out too. This is just something that I've been really enjoying lately. I can't wait to show it to you guys. However, what we're listening to right now is actually something off of my new album, The Low Key Plan. If you guys are trying to find the music, this is who I am on platforms. So, go check out the new album. Some good stuff. Oh, man, but I think we're just going to be mixing today. Mixing and doing a little bit of mastering as well, so trying to, get a completed track ready for release, basically. All right, so let's put the kibosh on this. Let's pause that and let's just dive into Ableton. I want to show you guys what we are mixing down. Those of you guys that were here in the last Saturday morning cook-up, as you guys know, doing live studio sessions every Saturday morning. This is what I made last Saturday. And man, I spent the whole 3-hour session on this track, and I think this came out so beautifully. Now, there was, again, if you guys were here last Thursday, there was a dependency issue with Contact 8. I have the same issue here today, but I think I can fix it the same way that I did last time. So it was the upright bass in this track kind of got a little, little problematic. I think what I'm going to do, pretty much the same way that I fixed it last time. First of all, we're going to duplicate this track so we don't screw anything up. We're going to mute the original. But basically, I need to reload Contact 8 and select the upright bass. There's a few ways I can access upright bass. Let me just see, though. I'm curious if I can just pull up if Contact 8 is giving me issues. Let's try this. Okay, so here we go. I've got, future application version needed. You jerks. Is this going to give me issues? Let's maybe not mess with that, actually, if it is going to result in the same problem again. Let's go Contact 7. I can access this instrument in Contact 7, so let's figure it out. All right. I know, new version, Contact 8 available. It doesn't work. Let's see. Upright bass is what we are looking for. Upright bass, here we go. Cool, and this should be good. Let me just hear this. Okay. I wonder if this is sounding the same as... It sounds about right. Well, we'll definitely be mixing this down anyways. Let's give this a full listen through, and we'll see what we're working with today. I want to just right off the bat, I just want to give it a clean listen and, kind of see where our max peak is at. So let's hear this. I'm kind of expecting this bass might give me some trouble, but whatever. Let's dive into it. I'm already hearing one little issue with that delay. Sorry to pause it on you guys. Let's run this back. Sometimes the delays need to get warmed up. That's what we're looking for. There we go. This is gonna be such a good track to mix down today. Okay, and it looks like our max peak is about minus 1.65. That's pretty good. We'll still probably bring it down a little bit just to give ourselves room if we need to start lifting things up. So, but yeah, that's sounding pretty good. I think that bass is about how it sounded. I'm not sure about the tone. Might want to kind of play with that a little bit, but you know, it sounds pretty accurate to what I had. So, well, now's our chance to really make it shine. So, let's highlight everything here and just kind of turn it down by like an arbitrary amount. We're just giving ourselves a little bit more headroom. So, okay, I've got everything highlighted. Let's just say like, it's at minus 1.6. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. That should give us like maybe a max peak value of around minus 6. Yeah, let's just listen through this again and start making adjustments where we might need them. So let me unhighlight everything just so we don't make any silly changes. All right. See, I could have sworn that this had a little bit more warmth to it. Curious where the tone's at. Oh no, that's the wrong, I'm trying to get on this guy. But for some reason that's armed. Okay. Oh boy. Well, let's arm that, turn that back up, unarm this. Let's arm this instead. Well, maybe this doesn't actually have our tone knob tied to this. I'm gonna turn down the tone just to show you guys what we're doing here. Right? So if we turn this tone up, we're going to get more of that sound on the neck. If we turn this down, we get a little bit more of a warmer muted tone. I think we're going to, like, it was set at about like 70 or something. I don't think it was like 100. We might even just bring this down a little bit. We also have this, compressor on here, which is just barely kind of squeezing it a little bit. I like that, but I am kind of thinking we might want to like, I'm already sort of thinking of EQs that we might apply to this. Just thinking of the important things going on in this bass. We need that low end. We need that to feel very satisfying. But we do want some of that high-end information that we're getting on the neck and the body. I'm thinking we're going to just kind of do a little bit of a gain stage pass first, but I'm kind of planning ahead, right? Let's kind of adjust gain on stuff as we see fit. And also, I'm going to get rid of this guy just for cleanliness sake. And before I get any further in this, we're going to do a save as. So we just have our mix V1, you know, separated. All right, let's call this, mix V1. There we go. Perfect. Easy. All right, let that load. Oh, very fast. Love this computer. I'm using my wife's computer to do this. Let's turn up kind of going back and forth on that. Let's try boosting the piano a bit. Oh, that feels good. Back it up a little bit. Don't want to get too far ahead. We're really just playing with the levels of things for the time being before we kind of get into, you know, some of the EQing, maybe spacing things a little bit. We might do a little bit right now, but you know, I guess I just feel like before you go trying to like mangle things with EQs and compressors and all of that, just trying to get the decibel volume of things relatively in place. Because you know what I see a lot of people doing, and here's a mistake to kind of like look out for. I feel like when I see a lot of people that are just learning how to mix, they'll like listen and their bass won't be loud enough, right? So they throw an EQ on there and they boost the lows on their bass or something, right? And it's like, oh, now we're mangling the EQ. Now we're doing funny things, right? Where it's like, well, if you had just turned your bass up, that might have, you know, kind of fixed things. So really, this is why I really recommend just starting by just adjusting the decibel volumes of things and, you know, just kind of seeing how close you can get it by just decibel volumes and also just kind of spacing, right? I like this being very subtle. I might want to slip this a little bit further left. I see I had some things I was trying to play with here. Let's just clean this up because we're not going to need that. This is kind of interesting though. I was just feeling like this kick could use a little bit more low end. I'm going to try to first just try to bring that kick up a little bit, but it might just be that it needs a little bit more lows. Ooh, that actually does give a nice little bump on the bottom there. We did bring it up. I don't think that volume change is going to be necessary if we have this, though. Let's try it both ways. Not a huge fan of the crunch underneath, but you don't really hear that crunch when it's all put together. So, you know, really the perspective that matters the most is what this sounds like with the rest of the song. Everything else is just kind of, you know, it's okay if something sounds a little bit odd up close. Listeners are going to hear it up close and soloed, right? Could even bring this kick down actually if we boost it like that. It's a bit of an extreme boost. Let's bring it down a little bit. It's lovely. I think we're gonna automate the volume on these strings right here. Overall, though, I am feeling pretty good about where, like, volume-wise, how things are sitting, and kind of spatially. We might kind of push them to their extremes, but I like how, you know, we do have a pretty good spread of instruments here. We just might spread them a little bit further. Kind of like we did with this guy. Now, the further that we put that in the left ear, the louder it's sounding in the left ear. It's kind of funny. Something about spacing stuff is like, I don't know, the more you shove something to the right, the louder it sounds in the right ear. So whenever you are kind of like spacing things out, I think it's smart to kind of, you know, think again about like what volume you really want that out. There we go. So something to kind of think about here. We've got this guy. It looks like he's hitting a little bit more in the right ear. It sounds a little bit left. I don't know, that's kind of odd, I feel like. No, it is in the right ear. I don't know. For some reason I was like feeling that more in the left. Well, you know what's really great about this though is we've got this clarinet in the left ear, like far left. And this is a little bit more lighter and it's countering the main melody here. So we might want this a little bit more like center-ish. But it could like move a little bit to the right. Yeah, what if we really did like try to throw it? I don't know, I just want to feel it out there. That's a little bit too far. Oh, and I already see one thing about this fade out I might kind of change. So we've got this S curve. I'm not a huge fan of this because right here, it's like the track's already done here, but we've got a little bit of dead space here. One thing that I kind of prefer rather than, you know, this is I kind of like to have this curve down like the top half of the S, but I like it to kind of go straight after that. Just kind of, I don't know, it feels more full to me. So like, what if we did get rid of that and we kind of did something like this, but let's give it that S curve at the top. Let's say, yeah, 1 decibel. 3. Oh, no, this is happening too fast. Okay, let's get this out of the way and let's say, okay, this guy's 1 decibel. This guy is 3 decibels. And this guy is 6. Just doubling every time. And then from here on out, we're just going to let it ride down. You see that straight line down kind of helps it feel more full. Not bad, not bad. Okay. Yeah, let's bring it back. Let's chill, listen. Try to turn down the gain on my mic here. Oh, that's as low as it goes. I think, yeah, because that goes higher. Okay. Alright, and I think it might be about time to start on a little bit of EQing of things. I think the first thing I really want to jump to is this bass. Yeah, let's bring it over here. Also, I think I'm gonna see if I can turn down my microphone here. I know this is gonna be kind of a quiet stream. I'm trying to match the loudness of which I'm mixing this out, you know. And I would say, don't be afraid to like, you know, really give yourself headroom when you mix. It's like one thing that I like to remind people is that loudness is all relative. If you want to hear it louder, just turn your volume up. If you need it quieter, just turn your volume down. You know? Here, let me get my volume down about here. This is a lot more reasonable. Okay. Cool. All right, now let's bring it back here. All right. Yeah, this is better. Okay, so I'm thinking, yeah, I kind of, so one thing to kind of note about when you're applying EQs, and we've already got a compressor on here. Typically what I like to do is if I'm doing subtractive EQs, I like to throw those in before the compressor. And if I'm doing additive EQs, I like to do that after the compressor, you know? So like I guess the reasoning behind that is, let's say that I was like cutting out some of the lows or something. I don't know. Well, I like to do that before I throw it in the compressor because then it's less information that it's compressing, less information that it's like filling that space with, right? But at the same time, I think what happens if you do additive EQing and then you feed it into a compressor is it tends to kind of like normalize the sound a little bit, right? So usually I like to kind of like squeeze the dynamics, and then if I want to add a little bit of sauce to the low end or whatever, I do that after I've already normalized the volume a little bit, right? It's just kind of like, do you want it before the volume is normalized or after the volume is normalized? So let's get an EQ. Bust out our EQ8. Here we go. Here we go. Now, there's really two important parts of this EQ that I want to accentuate, that I want to do an additive EQ to. Definitely this low end down here, we want a nice rich low body. But there's also some important information in the high end, you know, it's that nice textural like sound of the upright bass, like the strings on the neck of the upright. So see, so like we want something down here, right? Not that extreme, but definitely a little boost around like maybe 80 hertz down here. 70 or 80. That feels nice and full. And I like the shape of this bell. This is kind of capturing a lot of that. Let's play around up high a little bit more. Let's take this guy. And let's see where we are getting. And I want to tighten this Q. By the way, that Q knob just literally, it's about how tight that is, right? So what I want to do now is I want to sweep across this like mid-range and try to find like where we're getting a lot of that neck noise, that high-end information. It's like a lot in here. I think it's like right at around 1,000. Let's get that out of the way. It's somewhere around here, and I want it to be a little bit tighter than that. To me, this feels, yeah, we're kind of getting the more important information, but you know, what really matters is how this sounds with the song. Now we added quite a bit here. We might just take the gain down here, like a little bit. Let's A/B test it. This sounds so much more tasty, dude. Hell yeah. Is it a little bit loud now? I don't know. Hey, what's up, Signature? How you doing, man? How's your day going? Oh, glad you can make it. We got a beautiful track going today, man. Yeah, this is the one that I was making on Saturday. We're mixing it down today. Man, this is one of those tracks that I think is going to sound very magical once we hit it with the master, you know? Like, I can't wait to run this through a master chain. It's going to sound great. Oh, should we get our hands dirty with a little bit of volume automation on those strings? I think that might be a good next move. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. It's just these guys. I already did some of this kind of stuff, like on this clarinet. I just want to show you guys. This is what I did with this clarinet while we were producing it. I just wanted to kind of get some of these swells in. See, it's like super subtle. I really love that though. Like, I don't know. Here's just like a very general tip, right? It's okay to let some things be very, very small background details, you know? I think sometimes if you kind of allow for stuff to maybe be felt and not heard, that's kind of how you sometimes get like some really good nuance. I like that this is kind of coming up, going down, coming up, you know, and you kind of notice it at different moments, right? It's good. But anyways, yeah, Signature says, yes, sounds great. I'm good, thanks. Oh, hell yeah, man. Oh, man. Yeah, I hope your day's going well. That's awesome. Man, God, I just got a good feeling about this track. I think this is going to be something that I release sometime soon. And by soon, I mean like within a month or two. I've got a whole backlog of stuff that needs to come out. Let's see. Okay, so we were going to do this sort of thing over here using a utility. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like whenever I'm automating gain, I like to just grab one of these rather than using these guys, you know, on the mixer. Because for this stuff, I like to use more for like gain staging kind of stuff. This stuff, I like to, you know, this is where I like to automate it. So if I decide I hate the automation, I can just turn it off and not mess with my gain stage. So anyways, let's think about how we want this string to move. Okay, so I think really like all I really thought of here was here I want it to move up. Here I want it to kind of move down, right? As for over here, okay, so maybe we kind of want it to ascend and then maybe kind of drop down and ascend and then drop down and then we have this big arch. Let's just play around with this. Okay, so I'm going to say, let's see, we don't have anything else in this lane. Cool. All right. Then we're free to just go bloop. Let's say -7. And just going to pencil this in basically. And let's see, we want this to get up to about like and then we kind of bend this down to like here. Getting close there. I kind of like that little sharp swell. I'm not sure if we want this to bend down so much. Ooh, yes. And then this can kind of come down maybe a little bit. And then we kind of start to wrap it upwards. Okay. Hope this is making sense. Okay, we might be growing a little bit too fast there. I think maybe this comes down even more. And then we just kind of maybe we do another one of these where we kind of bend it down before we kind of spike it up a bit. So like ultimately we might want this to grow up this way. But I think we do want it to kind of like bend down again over here. I'm not sure if we want to go that fast. Yeah, that's going to feel kind of weird. Give it a nice bend. Yeah, and we start to basically we want to crescendo this up to about this height and then bring this down to about this depth. Something like that, right? I don't know, man, automation of volume on strings really breathes so much life into it, you know? It's just a good way of getting really hands-on. The tricky part is getting it to sound natural, though, how, you know, a string player would really play with their volume as they kind of grow these notes and bring them down, right? See, this feels a little bit unnatural here. I'm gonna have to mess with that. Okay, maybe this jumps down and starts to immediately grow, and we can kind of do a little S bend or the here. Yeah, in fact, I'm kind of thinking we kind of like change this up. Let's get a little creative with it. This comes down. Okay, that's a little bit too extreme, right? Let's make this sound a little bit more natural. I think jumping down that much is kind of killing this. Yeah, jumping down that much is like kind of killing it. Yeah, something like that, you know. But let's make this a little bit more bendy. I want it to be very, like, I don't know, very round. Let's give this a bit of height. This a bit of height. Where's our height? Okay, so maybe we get it all the way up to 5. We get it all the way up to 5. Let's actually take this out. Take this out. There we go. That feels good. Let's hear that together. Make sure we don't have any awkward points. Does still feel a little awkward. Let's try to smooth it out. What do we got here? Jeez. See, I think this swell gets a little bit too extreme. Let's just say, dope, dope, dope. Yeah, let's just fuck it up. Let's just fuck their shit up. All right. Let's take maybe these guys. Let's just nudge these down a little bit like this. Oh, that feels so much better. Dude, nice. Let's hear it again. Oh my god. I swear, dude, the garbage truck comes every time I'm mixing. Every time I'm like... It feels like it only comes when I'm live on stream and I'm like doing some delicate audio work, and then outside it's just like a war zone. Like freaking dump trucks going crazy. It's monster truck rally outside while I'm trying to mix. Oof. Woo, nice. Okay. Let's run it back. so, bruh. I told you guys, they're hosting a monster truck rally right outside my apartment. It's wonderful. I love it. I love it so much. All right. And every time I hear the brakes, I'm like, what's going on? Is there like a sizzle symbol in here that I just... All right. We're going to try to work through it. Yeah, I just really was kind of thinking, like, this feels like we've already got that marimba in our left ear. We got this flute right here that's also on the left. We might just swap the left and the right audio on this flute. Now, we do have a piano in our right ear, just like a little bit of piano detailing on the right hand coming from this guy. Now, this guy's really thrown to the right. I'm kind of thinking, because the marimba is more center of our focus, maybe we swap the left and the right for the flute, placing it more in the right ear, but we keep it more center right, you know? Okay, is that garbage truck finally going away? Oh my gosh. Jesus, dude. All right, yeah, so let's do this. Yeah, you see? Okay, we do have kind of a delicate balance here. Swapping the right and the left for the flute. Yeah, and you see this works pretty nicely because I think that this piano is mostly counterpoint to the flute as well. So they trade off in the right ear. It feels very nice. It's all very good counterpoint to this marimba. Woo. Dude, this is so beautiful. Let's save it. There we go. See, I'm trying to be better about saving more often. There was still something in that little string that felt a little bit too forced with the dynamic change here. I was purposefully trying to not look at the screen when I was listening to this. Yeah. Great for some bars about reminiscing. Yo, spot on. Absolutely. This is like a back in the good old days kind of track, you know? God, yeah, no, I want to hear somebody pour their heart out about, you know, the good times, right? On this track. This is a remember back when type beat, you know? I get it, man. I get it. See, it's really, I think it's this guy. I don't mind this sharp, you know? Like, that feels kind of good, but this guy, I think, is where it feels a little unnatural, a little forced. Yeah, not a huge fan of that. Let's maybe get rid of some of these points. Bring this guy down a little bit, make that a little bit more concave. Goodness, that is awesome. All right. Whew. All right, let's run it back. Let's run it back again. Gosh, this is feeling quite lovely and natural to me. I think really, you know what I really haven't touched much? I kind of want to see if we like slightly compress on these drums, if we can kind of bring a little bit of vibrance out of them. I mean, I'm loving the sound of these drums. I just want to like see if maybe like, I'm kind of thinking two things. I'm thinking a dash of compression might kind of lift these drums in a way to make them more lively, right? I'm also kind of thinking a little tiny splash of some room verb might make these drums feel a little bit more vibrant. I think that whatever we're considering, I'm going to try after the decapitator on here. I've got just like a little smidge of saturation on here, you know, giving them a little bit more bite. And then the only thing we've really done was EQ the kick, lifting the lows there, giving it a little bit more low-end body. I think it sounds great. And we did a little bit of gain staging on these drums. But I'm kind of thinking like maybe a little bit of the 1176 to kind of like make these feel a little bit snappier. It might kind of lift it a little bit. I'm also kind of thinking maybe in terms of reverb. Let's start with the reverb actually, because I'm not sure which side of the reverb we're going to want to put that compression on. It just kind of depends. But I'm literally thinking more of like a room verb, not like anything too noticeable or crazy, right? Just something to kind of color it. So there's one reverb called Lively Resonant that I think is kind of gives like an open studio space sort of feel. It's probably gonna be really extreme, but let's just hear it. See if we dial it in a little bit. Hey, what's up, Michael? How's it going, dude? Oh, thank you so much, man. You're gonna make me blush, dude. It's subtle. It's subtle, but like, let's A/B test it a bit. That might even be too much there. Oh, this is good. This is good, guys. I'm liking what this, I feel like this was the right kind of reverb to pull out, but I feel like it's only really working for us when we keep it pretty subtle at about like 14%. Could even go a little bit lower. Let's try a little bit of compression on these drums. Hoping that a little bit of the 1176 is going to help this feel a little bit snappier and maybe kind of squeeze the dynamics a little bit. But basically, the name of the game is we're going to give it a lot of attack and like no release, you know? So, I don't know. We'll see. All right. Let's check it out. I usually like to just throw it over on this, just get it in the ballpark of a lot of attack and no release. By the way, these knobs are kind of backwards. This actually, the lower numbers on the attack knob actually means more attack, and the higher numbers on the release knob actually means less release. I don't know. The 1176 is kind of counterintuitive. Way too much. But you guys hear what that's doing to the snare? It's kind of a little bit snappier, but we are losing a lot of our bass. Let's actually throw this in front of the reverb. So, you know, we're piping audio. Audio always goes from left to right here. So basically we're going to try compressing before we pass it off to the reverb. A little bit better. But I'm just not sure if this 1176 is going to work on this guy. Like, I feel like this is taking out the punch. It's been a while since I've done this compressor on the drums, but sometimes the LA2A is kind of just what you want if you want to just barely kind of squeeze the dynamics. Yeah, I agree with Michael. Yeah, he says the kick is kind of lost too. Exactly. We don't want to, you know, squish the kick. We just want to kind of like really kind of lift the room around it, you know, which is why I was kind of playing with it outside of this reverb. But let's see it, because if we can kind of just barely squeeze the dynamics without, you know, losing the kick, because I agree with you there. It might just kind of lift the drums in a way that kind of makes them feel a little bit more lively. We're getting a little bit closer. I don't know. Feeling better for sure. Such a delicate beat. You're absolutely right about that, man. This is a very delicate kind of beat. It's a very, like, I would say that this is like a hop and a skip away from like mixing down jazz music, right? Which when I'm not doing like hip hop music, surprise, surprise, I like to make some jazz music every once in a while. I think what's really kind of challenging about like, stuff like this is like it does not always respond the best to compression because it's a very dynamic sort of genre, right? We want to preserve a lot of these dynamics. But at the same time, I feel like compression can be really advantageous if you are very sparing with it, right? If instead of, slamming it into some heavy compression like you would if you were mixing down, I don't know, let's say like death metal is a genre that is super, super compressed, right? There's not much dynamic range in, death metal. But, it's like if you can find a way to squeeze it just the right amount, you can make the track feel just a little bit more vibrant, right? You're just kind of like giving it a facelift, basically, right? You're just kind of like, just kind of putting it up there. But you really got to be super, super careful because otherwise you end up just completely flattening your dynamics. And, it's things like the kick just suddenly sounds super flat, or like, really what I'm worried about is like this marimba. It's very dynamic on the marimba solo. We really don't want to compress our marimba, for example, because that has a dynamic range where that range is what is allowing for that instrument to be so expressive, right? So, I don't know. It's definitely a lot to think about, but I feel like it's tracks like these where it's like a little compression can go crazy, but, you got to kind of pick and choose your battles, I suppose, Yeah, this is one where we're going to actually compress it instead of limiting it. But we're going to be super sparing. You can see pretty much only that kick is triggering it, but you can hear everything else getting lifted a bit. Ooh. Yeah, what's up, Namu Yalka? How's it going, dude? He says, so true. A lot of producers care for loudness over dynamics, which, in my opinion, is a bit tragic these days. I think it totally depends on what you're trying to do, If you're trying to make some bro step, some dubstep, it's like, we're going for loudness, man. We're trying to maximize the shit out of that, But if you're trying to make something, like a little jazzy or something, it's like, yeah, it would actually sound super out of place if we made loudness our priority. Just thinking of like, where would this fit on a playlist? What kind of playlist would it be? How is this gonna sound side by side by other tracks in this genre? It's a lot more chill. And quite honestly, I feel like when we get to the mastering, you guys will see I actually do push it up a decent amount. I like to master between -10 LUFS and -8. This one's probably gonna lean closer to -10. And I think a lot of like chill music, a lot of lo-fi music, a lot of just like chill out sort of beats, I think are kind of mastered to around like -12 even, Like my music tends to be a little bit louder because I'm a little bit more hip hop centric, Hip hop can be a pretty loud genre, but I don't know. I could yap about this for days. This is like what I do, man. Let's see. I still have been kind of on the fence about this compressor. I'll tell you guys what, a little compromise here, because I do feel like it's slightly taking out our kick a little bit. I might just boost the kick a tiny bit. See if that, because I'm liking what it's doing to the highs here. I'm really liking what this LA2A is doing with like the room verb. It's kind of lifting those reverb tails just like a little bit. But that kick, you know, we want that to land. Okay, that's feeling better. But yeah, Namu asking, when you gain stage, do you start all your tracks low? What gain number do you overall tend to start at? So yeah, that's an interesting question. And I guess my answer is maybe a little bit less specific than you might be hoping for. Really, I don't have like a specific number like that I like to set my tracks at before I gain stage. Really, though, what matters to me is, do I have headroom, right? Like, am I below 0 dB? But even more so than that, do I have enough headroom that I can bring things up if I feel like I need to bring things up, right? It literally does not matter what you start at gain stage wise. Every track's going to be different. Every track is, you know, like I'm not like setting my tracks to a certain volume and then moving it from there. I'm kind of like, while I produce, I might nudge something up or down just based on feeling, you know, and it might be clipping. It might be kind of a mess. But then when I get into the session, when I'm getting ready to mix it, things are already sort of in the ballpark of where they need to be, right? Because I've just been subconsciously kind of nudging things as I produce, right? But what I typically start with when I sit down for a mix session is I play the track out in full and I pay attention to my max peak value. When we started today, this mix, my max peak value was at minus 1.65, right? And that was just arbitrarily how the set track was sitting, right? Just based on where the volume of the instruments already were. But I like to kind of aim for about 6 decibels of headroom. Maybe if I'm like, you know, it kind of depends on the track. Sometimes I might go for something a little bit more extreme. You know, I might try to give myself like 10 decibels of headroom if I feel like I'm going to need it. And we can always highlight everything and give ourselves more headroom at any given moment if we need it, right? But like, for example, so yeah, I saw that I had a max peak of minus 1.6 something, right? So I highlighted all of these tracks and uniformly just brought them down by 5 decibels. And that got me at a headroom of about, you know, a little over 6 decibels of headroom, you know. But notice, I did this, like, I didn't nudge each track like I'm going to set every single track in the project to minus 12, right? That would be weird, you know, because I already had these kind of in the rough ballpark of where I wanted them. So to preserve the balance that we were starting at, I just highlight everything, and at one time I just say, bring it back 5 decibels, bring it back 6 decibels, or however much, you know. So yeah, it's a lot less like, I don't know. I feel like I see a lot of people ask that question, actually. I think it's a pretty good question. But I think what a lot of people are surprised is, like, it's so arbitrary. It does not really matter. Like, there's no specific number that we start at. It really, the only things that matter is that it's below 0 dB, right? And maybe beyond that we have some room to nudge things up if we need them. But yeah, he says, cool, thanks, man. Yeah, automating gain utility rather than the track volume is the pro move for that exact reason. Exactly, man. See, you get it, man. You get it. That's exactly why we used a utility to automate this clarinet, and also why we used a utility to automate this this string. You're spot on about that. Absolutely, because now, you know, I can highlight everything and just like nudge it up and down if I need. I can be like up, 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 down, down, down. Doesn't matter, you know? All right. Let's see where we're at here. We're getting closer. Like, this is feeling good. Also, I'm having fun just talking with you guys. Oh man, yeah. What else could use a tiny splash of compression? I'm thinking this piano. Oh man, this piano is screaming for some LA2A compression. What I like about this compressor right here, this is what we just used on our drums actually. But what I like about what this does is what it does to the warm, like, mid-range, you know? I don't know. This compressor just makes anything like warm chords feel immaculate, feel really cool. So let's pull this out on this piano. Let's actually start back here and let's see how this feels. Okay, right now this is not being triggered too much. It's just louder. Here we go. Might turn down that gain a bit. Now let's A/B test it. Yeah. Yeah, that's feeling good. Now, I want to tell you guys something about compressors. And just like a pitfall to watch out for, okay? So like, what are we doing when we compress, right? I think this is a good question to ask before this conversation. Well, basically, in a nutshell, what a compressor does is we are taking the ceiling of our dynamics and the floor of our dynamics and we're squeezing them together a little bit, right? That's essentially what a compressor is doing. And so, like, the result of it is, you know, like we're looking at audio waves right down here. Basically, the result is that these audio waves, these mounds right here, become a little bit thicker, right? They become squished and a little bit more fat, right? So basically, though, when you're doing stuff like this, like you're bringing the ceiling down, you're bringing the floor up, this changes the overall volume of things, right? So something to look out for when you're compressing is eliminating loudness bias, right? You really want to ask yourself whether what you are liking about this is the compression, or rather, if what you are liking about this is the boost in volume. Because if it's just a boost in volume that you're looking for, I think you should just, you know, boost the volume up, right? Now, one way that you can kind of set your compressor to sort of like work around that sort of loudness bias, right, is you guys will see this needle lift up. This is our peak. This is like our gain reduction, essentially. When you see this needle jump back to -3, that is bringing our ceiling down by 3 decibels, basically. So you also see that we have a gain knob over here that's at like 2.5 decibels, right? So if what this peak reduction is doing matches up with the boost in gain that we are giving it, then that should be about the same loudness that it is, you know, and therefore we can really tell like where our, you know, what the compression is sounding like, not the loudness, right? So I don't know, that's just something to think about. I love this LA2A compressor because it's very simple to think about. You know, I was just talking about we are raising the floor of the dynamics, we are bringing down the ceiling. Well, you could just look at this compressor and think, okay, gain, we are raising the floor with this knob by like 2.5 decibels. And over here, peak reduction, we are bringing down the ceiling by about like 4 decibels, basically. Really simple compressor. It sounds amazing though. This is actually modeled after a physical compressor. It's awesome. Got those sausage waves. Hell yeah, Michael. Damn straight we do. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm liking the compression on this piano, man. It's sounding cool. See? really I want to bring this peak reduction back until it matches up with our gain about. It's not a hard rule. It's just kind of how I like to do it. For just like chords like this, you know? I do think though, now that we've compressed this, I might bring it down by a decibel. Oh man, that is beautiful. Woo! Can I see your mix window for a sec just to see levels? Absolutely, man. We're working in Ableton Live 12, so I can actually have it in the same window. So you can kind of see like these are all the max peaks of all of the tracks. Now let me see if I bring it over to this view. God, does it actually show here where I have my decibels set to? I'm not sure if it really does, but in case if you're curious, basically I've got you know, you can see like I've got my drums to -12, piano chops -5. I haven't named these yet, by the way. I'm being kind of a slacker in that way. But yeah, you know, really I usually set my levels in this view. I don't know, for some reason I'm not quite working like a true mix engineer because I'm not quite, you know, working in this space. But yeah, you know, like I was saying though, is it's so arbitrary, right? Because like the volume of my trumpet here, well, -10, that could mean anything depending on how loud this audio file is. This audio file could be any loudness to it, right? So with that information in mind, -10 really tells us nothing about what you should set your trumpets to, right? It's all relative to what else is in the mix. Just like one huge piece of advice that I would give like any mix engineer or really any producer, because I feel like this really gives you like proper insight. Loudness is all relative. It is all relative to how loud you are choosing to listen to it. And so really we're just like basically when we're gain staging, we are just setting the volume of these instruments in relation to the other instruments in the mix, right? And you can be dead sure that people are going to listen to your music at whatever volume is comfortable to them, right? So I would just say, you know, whatever the decibels that you see on this screen are, literally does not matter what they are, right? It's all about just like, because, you know, -10 on this contact instrument could totally mean something totally different depending on how loud this contact instrument really is just from a get-go, right? So yeah, I would say don't even stress it. Really just think, I guess like the biggest advice that I have for gain staging is listen at a low listening volume, because you can really tell the differences in volumes between things when you listen very quietly. Like when you listen very loudly, everything sounds loud, so it's really easy to convince yourself that everything is balanced, right? But like the opposite is so true when you listen at a very quiet listening level. Suddenly, you can really tell when something is kind of like sticking out of your mix. Or likewise, you might even go, didn't I have a clarinet in this section? Like, I can't even hear that. Maybe it's buried, you know? So it's easy. It's easy once you really simplify it to like that level where it's just like, it's all arbitrary. We're just using our ears, you know? So, but yeah, and Michael says, do you imagine giving this to an artist? And if so, How do you leave space in the mix when mixing with an artist in mind? Is it all about frequencies, or does the gain, staging, and compression matter? Oh man, that's a great question, because Michael, I think I'm about to blow your mind with what I actually do with these beats. It's kind of a lot, but I've got thoughts on that. By the way, hey Numa, Namu, thank you so much, man. Thanks for hanging out, dude. Appreciate you stopping by, man. But yeah, it's key to all. Absolutely, man. I agree. Well, yeah, have a great rest of your day, man. Thanks for stopping in. But yeah, Michael is asking, about leaving space for artists. Do I imagine giving this to an artist? The answer is yes, but that's not my primary purpose for this beat, right? So this is who I am outside of YouTube, right? I am an instrumental artist, TapDaddy, on all platforms, right? But this wasn't how I started under the name TapDaddy. I actually started as a producer, selling beats to artists on, platforms like BeatStars. Like, I've got my own BeatStars page. But so, basically this started as me making beats for rappers, and really with the intention of leaving space for the rapper. Like, that was a bigger priority for me. And yeah, this is my website, by the way, if you're trying to see, all of these beats that I publish on Spotify are available on my website, purely because I want people to be able to get permissions from for me. If you really enjoy my beats, I think oh man, how sick would it be if all of Jay Dilla's beats were readily available for $20? I'm sure people would love to just pay $20 to have permissions to actually drop a song over a Jay Dilla beat, right? So that's why I do this. I used to not be on Spotify, so I was really prioritizing the artist. Nowadays, this has really exploded, and quite honestly, this song right here, I really am more interested in entertaining an instrumental audience than appealing to the rapper per se. But with that said, there are still things that I try to kind of stay away from. For example, maybe sampling vocals that sit in the center lane, right? That's usually where the artist is going to be, right? So, if I'm sampling a soul sample that has a vocalist in the center lane, that could be problematic, right? And I feel certain things like that, certain realities of, how it works when an artist pops on the track and tries to rhyme it, I have formed habits around, so I typically do to kind of clear out a center lane for the rapper, right? But at the same time, there are certain tracks where it's very clear to me in the moment while I'm making it, whether this is more intended for my BeatStars and for rappers to rhyme on, or if it's more intended for the audience, the instrumental audience, the people on my Spotify that are going to be listening to this. So I kind of make decisions in the moment. I might prioritize how I do something for the rappers. I might prioritize how I do something for my instrumental audience. I think at the end of the day, though, it kind of goes both ways. I everything that lands on my Spotify also goes on BeatStars. So I don't know, man. It's a real toss-up. I feel it's different for everybody, but there is such a thing as you kind of do want to leave space for rappers if you intend for rappers to be rhyming it, right? I like my stuff because I feel it's rhymable, but it's still got enough meat and potatoes in it to entertain you just from a purely instrumental level, right? That's kind of what I'm aiming for. So I'm going for something very specific because, as you see, my setup is very specific, right? I don't think that this is really the mark that most hip-hop producers are trying to go for. They probably wouldn't be going so, instrumentally focused. Most hip-hop producers are probably not going to lay down a marimba solo in the middle of their song, right? But yeah, new job is vibes. Absolutely, man. You get it 100%. That's what we're going for here, basically. Man, you got me yapping today. I like it though. All right, let's see where we're at with this. I think we're honing in on something pretty good. I want to do a little tiny squeeze on this trumpet as well. Let's do a very tiny squeeze on this guy. Okay, that's starting to sound pretty good. Let's kind of A/B test it though. You know, make sure that we like what we're doing with this compressor. That feels good, man. God, I'm vibing with this beat today. We might bring that glockenspiel up. It is a tiny detail and it's meant to be tiny, but I feel like we've kind of beefed up a lot of the elements of this track, and that glock is kind of getting a little bit left behind. We don't want it to be left behind. We just want to... Ah, there we go. Nice. Okay, yeah, it just needed like a decibel boost. It's fine. Yeah, I think this upright bass is gonna feel really smooth and good in the car, you know? Now, we did... I'm kind of considering something. We're kind of like... So, I did lay in this top line on the piano. That is kind of like set in our right ear. And, I don't know, I was for a second kind of considering, do we want compression on these little details? But I'm kind of thinking, no, we really just want the compression on the chords, really. These sample chops. In fact, these little piano notes feel very good just dry. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Same with like this marimba. This marimba is like super high fidelity. And there's a lot of dynamic range in there, so I don't want to compress it. I don't think I really want to EQ it because it's like going way up and down. It's got a really beautiful reverb on it just built into the plugin that I feel like agrees with the space of this track, you know? So I actually am signing off on that. I think that's good, you know. But yeah, Michael, you're taking off. Hey, thanks for hanging out, dude. I appreciate you. Yeah, he says, we'll be looking out for this on your Spotify. Hey, cheers, dude. I appreciate it. It'll probably be dropping in about a month or two. I think this is going to come out on July 4th. Don't hold me to that, though. But yeah, probably going to be coming out on July 4th. But yeah, have a good one, dude. Hope you have a good rest of your day, man. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, man, we were getting places with this mix, I tell ya. I think it almost might be time to start busting out the master chain. Finishing this off. I think we want to aim for about minus 10 LUFs. But I want to give this one more, like, really careful listen through. Let's also save this. Let's see. There we go. Saved. All right, let's bring this back. Let's just make sure we're vibing with this. We really didn't have to do, like, a ton to this track. We've been working at this mix for about an hour and a half. But the thing is that this mix was already in a pretty sweet spot. We definitely kind of colored this out a little bit. Made it a little bit more full with some very strategic compression, you know, where it could use it, just barely squeezing things. Little EQing, you know, making this feel good together. But yeah, I think that this is in a good spot. Let's just listen. Oh man, this is sounding magical. I think this is gonna sound amazing once we start to compress it on the master. We gotta be kind of careful because like I was saying, a track like this that is as delicate as this, we don't want to like totally slam it with the compression. But dude, like a little bit of compression, a little squeezing of the dynamics is probably gonna make this sound beautiful, you know? And man, we're in a pretty good spot. I can't believe we're actually at minus 6.6 on our max peak value. That's about where we started. I usually anticipate that I'm going to be moving up the volume. But after we started to compress things a little bit, that volume actually came down. That's interesting. Of course, it's all relative, you know. We're gonna go ahead and throw our Shadow Hills master compressor on main, And we're going to start to kind of squeeze the dynamics a bit. This is really, I think, the only real true compression that we're going to put on the master. The rest is probably going to be like limiting for the most part, you know? I think limiting can kind of help you get it up to volume without necessarily squeezing your dynamic range as much as you would with a traditional compression or compressor. I can speak. I'm just yapping away. Let's get that Shadow Hills. Yeah. Okay. This is a fun compressor. I love this one. So basically, you could think of this compressor as so since I have this in stereo mode, we're only going to be using the left side of this compressor. If I had it on dual mono, then this would correlate to the left side. This would correlate to the right. Since we have it on stereo, this controls everything. And you can kind of look at this compressor as it's, broken into two types of compressors. We got an optical compressor up here, and we have this discrete compressor down here. So it'll be good. Yeah, hit the hills. Hell yeah, signature. That's what we're doing. I like to also usually enable sidechain. This kind of helps glue things, I feel like, a little bit better. But let's just go ahead and start. We'll jump to a part with our drums in here. I hope I'm not getting carried away with this compressor because I'm really liking how this sounds. Oh, dude, that bass sounds magical. Let's get our loudness meter out. Okay, we haven't even really lifted this yet. But man, it looks like our max peak is minus 6.66. The devil's number. Alright, well, let's try to put it up to volume. And we're going to have to recheck to see if, because sometimes that Shadow Hill can be a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes it gives me varying numbers. But let's, just to get it close to 0, we want to just set it kind of close to 0. So we're going to boost this by like 6 decibels, let's say. And let's bring it back and let's listen. And just volume warning, guys, we're turning the track as a whole up by 6 decibels, all right? So it might be a little louder than it was, all right? Let's check it out. You can see we're at minus 0.6 right now. look at the average dynamics. That is a very wide range. 17 LU. That's... Boy, we still have so much further to bring it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this up to -10. That's gonna be... Yeah, sounds awesome. Thank you, Signature. I appreciate you, man. Man, this is gonna be a challenge, I have a feeling. I'm gonna try to get this up there without completely squishing it, but, you know, I'm kind of more concerned with preserving this than adding anything to it with the master. All right, as always, we're gonna bust out that ozone. Let it do its thing. Really, we just want the maximizer in it, but we're gonna let it analyze it. Literally, this is like the biggest reason why I keep this ozone elements around. It's just so that I could use that maximizer tool. Really great limiter. Let's let it do its thing. Let's see, we're gonna put it there. All right, volume warning again, guys. This is gonna listen to the audio. It's gonna apply a limiter, and then we're gonna probably change what it does here. We'll see. But yeah, just volume warning. This is gonna jump up and down in volume pretty abrasively. So, you know, protect your ears. Keep your volume at a, you know, at a relatively good volume. Let's hear this. Let's run this. Let's see. Okay, it's gonna jump up. Oh, yo, we got Shadow. What's up, Shadow? All right, and it got up. But yeah, Shadow, how's your day going, man? Good to see you. Extreme here. I think we may have overshot it. Okay. But yeah, Shadow says, not that good today, to be honest. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Hope everything is gonna turn around, I suppose. I'll have to get back to you in the DMs, by the way. I saw you messaged me. I've just had a crazy ass morning. But yeah, hope everything gets better, man. This is getting I don't know. I'm starting to hear a little bit of clipping here, you know? So we might have to kind of bring that threshold up a little bit. But yeah, Shadow says not quite so good. Got the call here early in the evening that our granny has that. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, dude. In her retirement home. Gotcha. Yeah, he says all good. Yeah, not so great topic for stream though. But man, that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate, man. Well, I can only imagine what's going on in your world. So, you know, I'll definitely be thinking of you, man. That's never good news, man. That is never good news. I'm so sorry to hear that, dude. Man, that's rough. Let's bring this down a bit. Good God, this is so loud. All right. Yeah, you guys can kind of hear a little bit of clipping in here. I think the threshold on this limiter is just like way crazy right now. Let's try it. We've got 2 modes of limiting here. We still get a little bit on. We'll see. But yeah, Shadow says thanks though. We already knew it was coming, so all's well in the end. Yeah, I got you, man. It's never easy preparing for something like that, man. I can only imagine what must be going on in your world, dude. Let's bring this back up a little bit more. And I think really what's going to help us get the rest of the way there is I think we're going to use just a normal Ableton Live limiter. We're going to try to use their master limiter, which is technically, it was called the color limiter in Ableton Live 11. Now they changed it to master limiter. Because, yeah, it makes sense using it on the master. Basically, it's a limiter that you can apply some saturation to. I don't think we're going to really apply too much saturation, but I like to use the master limiter just in case, just so we could try it out. But, yeah, why does your ozone look so different? Mine is a different version. Yeah, this is the Elements version. I got this for free many years ago. It's not the full version. But, I still use it, though, because of this maximizer. I think this is a great limiter for it, what this does. We might boost some of the highs of just like a little bit at 10K. I just keep hearing little clicks, We're trying to eliminate that. We're trying to get it up to volume. Right now, it's minus 10.9 LUFS. We kind of got a target of minus 10, but I will settle for minus 10.5, honestly. But yeah, he says, gotcha. It doesn't matter, though. Ozone is great. Absolutely, man. I'm not going to lie. I feel like regardless, what's so controversial about this tool is the fact that it will listen to your music and try to generate a chain for you. And I feel like for that reason alone, a lot of engineers kind of avoid it, which I think is stupid because if you look past that, it's actually a collection of really great mastering tools, like really incredible stuff. It's just, I don't know. I think that it's kind of a controversial tool because people are like, oh, I'll master myself. I don't need a tool to listen to my music. Dude, there's some great stuff in here, honestly. See, it's like you hear like a little clip in there. That's what's so difficult about this. We're trying to get rid of that. Let's bring this threshold back up. Feeling much better, okay. I don't know, I just keep hearing little clicks. Gosh, I don't know if we're going to be able to limit super hard with this thing. Yeah, when it really touches that limiter, it kind of goes up there, you know? But yeah, Shadow Eagle saying, yeah, the AI quote unquote master. It's a really cool thing. You get a basic setup and you can tweak it from there. I like the AI master. That's fair, man. Yeah, honestly, I've found it like I like the idea of just doing it myself, right? But I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it can kind of get you in the ballpark of something that's kind of useful, but then you just kind of change it. I'm not a huge fan of like AI assisted kind of stuff because I feel like sometimes that leads you down a road of making silly decisions, right? But this is like such a small collection of tools. I usually let it listen to it and then I just change everything anyways. But you know, let's see. So smooth and thick limiting for a rich sound. Clear and sharp limiting to preserve peaks. We're on smooth and thick limiting right now. Okay, we're kind of getting a little bit closer. I really got to listen closely, though, for these clicks, you know? Okay, so we're essentially like, here's I guess how our chain's going so far. We're compressing as the first thing in here. Then we raise it up to about close to 0. And then we let this maximizer, which is really just a limiter, bring it up to dead 0, basically. Now, this is kind of giving us some issues. The way that this is limiting is it's kind of giving us some clips sometimes that are unsavory. So we're really trying to limit how much we use this limiter. You know, we're trying to do less of our limiting here and more of our limiting in this additional limiter that I feel is a little bit cleaner and can kind of help us get up to the top. This feels very rich and honestly can really do a lot of great work, you know, getting us most of the way there. This last limiter is just like very clean way of getting us there. Now, I kind of want to slip in between here a little EQ before we pass it off to our final limiter. And I kind of want to play around with boosting some of these highs a little bit. See, we're kind of giving it a brighter edge to it. Okay, let's try something a little different. I'm going to try turning off this maximizer as a whole. We're going to try to just send this limiter, this other limiter, into the ceiling by quite a bit. if we tighten the look ahead a bit. And tighten this release. Here we go. Now let's actually put that back up at 6. But yeah, Shadow says, Tap, question. There's still a lot going on below 20 hertz. Shouldn't that stuff be cut out? And also everything above 18k hertz, so that mix stays clean and isn't unnecessarily bloated. Not really. Some people like to really trim out the sub frequencies. I think that there's kind of 2 reasons why I don't like to do that. Because I feel like sometimes that can give you an edge when you are working with sub basses, right? When you have like a bass that is very, very like sub frequency heavy, right? That's where, yeah, cutting out those lows sometimes can help it come across louder in the mix, you know, because we're cutting out unnecessary frequencies. However, I think that you fall into this danger of just like removing information that actually is assisting the mix. You know, I think that that's one reason. Now, another reason is unless if you have a tool that can really compensate for this, sometimes cutting the lows can create sort of like phase issues in your mix. And that's kind of a headache that I don't want to deal with today, quite honestly. Yeah, there are some very smart ways that you can cut the lows and avoid these phase issues, right? But, you know, quite honestly, I feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's a good philosophy to live by. And to me, I feel like this is not broke, you know? There's really no reason why I would shave off the 20 hertz. I feel like it's not quite... Now, you could say, you know, to help us get up to the loudness, maybe we remove some of the decibels in the unheard areas, right? But I just am not quite so confident in the EQ8 to do this without creating phase issues, I suppose, you know? So, yeah. But also, you'll see there's not like a whole lot going on down here that we would gain back from doing that. I think we run more risk of introducing problems than we would in solving problems. You see, this is what I was kind of initially getting at with like sub frequencies. If we were working with a really sub heavy bass, yeah, that might make sense, you know. But because we are not, like, I don't think it's really much of an issue. Most of our subbiness is coming in at around 80 hertz in a very clearly heard range. Yeah. God, every single way that I set this, it's just like not quite. I don't know. This maximizer is just giving us issues no matter what way we put it at, you know? So you know what? We're going to get rid of that. There's nothing in here that's serving us. We're just going to have to do this our own way. Oh man, this is a hell of a master. This has given me so many issues. I mean, other ways that we could try to, maybe brainstorm this is we could try soft clipping a little bit before we pass it, or somewhere, maybe before this limiter. But I don't really want it. I feel like that's more of a Band-Aid solution, I feel like the real solution is to limit it in a way that's not going to create clipping, right? Try pulling back on this release, see if we can get away with it. Because right now, the way that it's limiting feels a little bit awkward. Here we go. Okay, I think 100 milliseconds is about where we're getting away with it, right? Now, I could just try using a traditional limiter from Ableton here. In this, we could have an auto feature. So let's actually turn off this master limiter. We might use a combination of the both, but you see, this auto limiter is going to kind of allow for the release to be a little bit more dynamic in how it changes. This also has a soft clip feature on it. I'm kind of thinking that that's maybe what we might do. But first, let's just set the ceiling to the top. And let's start bringing up the gain. Oh, this is already feeling so much better. We're not quite there yet. Okay, this is starting to feel a little bit better. Yeah, now definitely dependent on genre. We're in a jazz genre, so soft clipping, maybe not the best approach, right? There's probably smarter ways to do this. But it's kind of working here. And I think part of it is because it's like, it is a half jazz and half hip hop. And really what's sending us is that kick is super loud, you know? So maybe this soft clipping might be a smart choice, but I've been trying to avoid that, you know, a little bit. try changing the look ahead. I think we may be getting close here because, man, I see our lufs is up there. Let's run this back and just kind of see kind of where we're at. All right. You're fine, Shadow. Afraid we may have totally smashed the dynamics here, but... you could definitely hear it's doing good work on those drums. Man, I'm loving how we processed the drums with that reverb. It just feels lively. Hey, what's up, Mars? How you doing, dude? It's good to see you, man. Oh, man. Okay, so, yeah, minus 9.9 lufs. I actually think we want to set this down a little bit. The limiting is a little aggressive. I think we want to be just a bit gentler with this, you know? Oh shit, we also got Siddharth. How you doing, man? He says, I don't understand mixing fully yet. That's fair. What do you have any questions? Because I'd be happy to rant at you if you got any, you know. But yeah, Shadow's saying, I'm always impressed by how clean and natural your mix and track sounds. Thank you so much, dude. I feel like that's high praise. I appreciate that, man. Says it's the complete opposite of what I'm aiming for. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we get a little extreme sometimes, but you know, it's all part of the genre, right? Let's set the input gain for this down a little bit. Let's just bring it back like by just about 1 decibel. And let's see if this feels a little bit less aggressive. Now, I really had to kind of switch up my approach to this. We're using a normal limiter. This is actually a pretty basic chain. We got our Shadow Hill compressor here doing good work, making this very gelled and beautiful, right? This utility is simply to get, after we compressed it, to get it close to 0, right? And then after we've gotten it close to 0, we lift the EQ just a tiny bit at 10k hertz, just to give it a little bit of a brighter edge before we send it into our limiter, which this is what is really doing most of the work, you know? And then, that's basically the whole chain, because then after that, this is just, we turned this off. This was the limiter we were using beforehand. And we're measuring our LUFS. Now, I think we were aiming for -10. I think I'm kind of bending a little bit here because I kind of feel like this might feel a little bit more natural, closer to -10.5. And that is at like the lowest range of what my discography hits at. I'm usually aiming between -10 and -8. But this is a very delicate track, very soft kind of track. I think -10.5 is very, very right for what this is. So let's hear it back. Let's check this again, you know. Feels good. Plug tech? I'm gonna have to check it out. Hell yeah. That is awesome. It's waves. Fair enough. Signature. You're right. Save it. I think, yeah, -10.5. But wow, I sucked the landing, guys. I was like, I think we're gonna aim for -10.5. Look at that shit. Hell yeah. Ugh. Guys, holy shit. Okay. We still need to like really carefully, I don't know, listen to this back. We definitely squished the dynamics a little bit, but I'm actually really happy with how small some of the small parts sound and how big some of the big parts sound. You know, like we've got a good thing going here, guys. We're doing good work. Holy shit. Let's just run this back, you know, make sure we're satisfied. I'm not in any rush to be like, you know, all done. Okay, we're going to run this back. Yeah, precision landing, you know. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, dude, I think we've done some awesome work today. Oh, I got to think of a name for this one. Oh, that could be a good one. Oh, I'm gonna save it again just to make sure. Absolutely make sure. Oh man, this is so good. I'm very pleased with myself. If you guys can't tell. Oh man, this is a beautiful track. I think, and no promises, guys, but I think this might be coming out on July 4th, I think is kind of the name. Oh, Blue Velvet. Oh, Mars, you're coming up with some good shit. Blue Velvet. Okay, I'll have to write these down. Nightfire's Blue Velvet. If anything, it'll just go in my song names, little notes on my phone. Oh man. Yeah, this is Blue Velvet. I kind of like that, man. I kind of like that. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, I think that this is just sounding incredible. I like the feel of this. I'm gonna have to sit with this for a little bit. Probably come back to this tomorrow. Make sure that I am really enjoying this, But if all goes right, I think you guys just heard me make the version that's gonna make platforms, Wrought satin? What does wrought mean? I'm curious. I'm not sure if I enjoy the sound of wrought, but I don't know. I don't know the meaning of it. So, but Blue Velvet, that sounds really good. Or I might call it Red Velvet because I don't know. Red just seems a little bit more sensual than blue. I don't know. God damn. Of course, it might turn off all the people that don't like the feel of velvet, It means distressed. Okay. Wrought satin. Okay. I think I'm vibing with Blue Velvet, though. I'm thinking maybe Blue Velvet or Red Velvet. I don't know. Maybe one of the two. Nightfires, though. That's not a bad one. That's not a bad one. Yeah. No, yeah, always giving to give your ears a break for a short time. Absolutely, Shadow. Gotta kind of sit with it. Make sure. 'Cause sometimes I do come in the next day and I'm like, what kind of dog shit did I cook up yesterday? Trying to avoid that, Oh man. But anyways, yeah, just wanted to remind you guys that I am oh, you know what? I've got a big announcement, something huge that I just wanted to let you guys in on. I've been on YouTube for about 5 years now. Okay. I started on YouTube about 5 years ago, just like with an Ableton tutorial channel. And a little after that, I decided to start this channel, TapDaddyBeats, to post type beats and sell to rappers and whatnot. And this has evolved a lot over the course of time. Since then, I've started streaming in front of you guys. I have started posting beat making edits. And just recently, I started doing 12-hour radio streams where I'm just playing my music. Well, the exciting news is that I'm excited to share with you guys that I actually got accepted into the YouTube partner program. Basically meaning that they're going to allow me to monetize my channel now, which is, I don't know what that is going to, what that would generate or just what that really means for the future of the channel. I just wanted to say that's a huge goal that over the course of 5 years has been a big goal of mine. Something that I've been trying to work towards. And I just wanted to let you guys know I got accepted into the YouTube partner program and I couldn't have done it without you guys. So thank you guys so much. All of you guys that have hung out in these live streams and, or just, I don't know what various parts of my channels you guys might enjoy, but it's, thank you guys. I don't know. That's a huge goal that I don't know, feels kind of surreal, So, yeah, it means you can make money off ads and super chats and memberships. Yeah, I'll let you guys know when I get it all set up and all whatnot. But really, I think what I would like to do with it the most is I want to really, keep my radio streams going. I've this past week I've been running radio streams every night. And if all goes well, like that's really what I care about in terms of like maybe ad revenue might help, that would be really great. That'd be a great addition to just like, I don't know, helping me pay rent when you guys know how fucking hard it is to pay rent when you're just like freelance mixing and all that stuff. So I think it would be incredible, but it also might incentivize me to just kind of always have this channel live and doing radio streams. So if you guys see one of my radio streams, if you want to pop in, check it out. Yeah, I would love it if you guys got to hear the music in its final context. But yeah, I see Shadow saying ads and you can get paid for it. Now you can do stuff and set it for channel members only, mostly subs. We'll see if I want to do that. I think I plan on running the YouTube channel a lot differently than we run the Twitch. It's a lot easier to moderate this this channel. But yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to share that. It's just been, I feel like, kind of a big life goal of mine to get a YouTube channel partnered, and damn, I couldn't have done it without you guys, so thank you guys. But yeah, that surely will just mean good things for this channel, honestly. I think it's just gonna mean that I'm gonna be a lot more invested in this channel, I think, which excites me. Holy shit, guys. we did it. Oh man. Anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out. As always, if anybody here needs mixing services, I've got my email listed below. Please send me an email if you're just curious about it. I'd love to hear from you. I offer mixing services. I include mastering services for anybody that hires me for a mix. And I also got tons of beats. I'm a producer. If you guys, need beats, if you guys need a producer, if you're looking for somebody that is all in one, gonna produce your next album and mix it and master it, I could be that guy for you, just reach out to my email, yeah, this was a fun stream. I think I'm, off to go have a beer by the pool, hang out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. This was a really fun stream. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Signature. Thank you, Shadow. Thank you, Mars. Man, who else did we have in here? I saw we had Siddharth in here. Thank you, Siddharth. Man, all the people. We got Michael. Thank you, Michael, for hanging. Namu, thank you for hanging. Yeah, man. Great stream, guys. Let's do this again next Thursday. And of course, I'll be making more beats on Saturday morning if you guys want to come swing by for a studio session. So anyways, thank you guys so much. I will see you guys later. Peace out.